Hi, and welcome to another episode of Pet Pals. I'm Bethany Davidson, the Humane Educator here at Frederick County Animal Control and Pet Adoption Center. And starting off the day, we have one of our longtime residents here with Tammy, and this is Clifford. He is our longest in-house canine resident. Some of you might know our foster dog Tala. She is our longest canine resident. But Clifford has been living here at the shelter since July 19th. So for whatever reason, he's just not been able to find his perfect family, his perfect match yet. One of those reasons might be because Clifford doesn't always show really well in his kennel. A lot of the dogs get very excited in their kennels. There are a lot of other animals, there's lots of smells, lots of noises, and when they see visitors walking by, they're so excited at the opportunity to get out, to get attention, to go on a walk, that they can be jumpy and barky and not show their true selves. Right now, what you see with Clifford is who Clifford is. Clifford is just a big guy, but he's very sweet, he's kind of got a little bit of a sensitive personality. He definitely relies on his people for reassurance. He's a leaner, he likes to lean in, and he can be easily startled by loud noises and things like that. Because he's also a strong guy, he doesn't always know his own strength because he is such a sensitive dog. We have him recommended to go to homes where the kids are age 10 and up, just so that he doesn't accidentally pull someone, and also so the kids understand that he can startle easily sometimes. We don't want him to be, living in fear with lots of loud noises and stuff like that all the time. You might notice that Clifford is a little underweight. That can happen sometimes in a shelter environment when they're very stressed. They're pacing around, things like that. So we have him on extra feeds, and he is starting to maintain that weight a little bit better. And once he's in a home environment, that shouldn't be much of a problem for him. If you're interested in Clifford, he is a 1 to 2 year old brindle and white pit bull mix. You can stop in and visit with him here at Animal Control. The address here is 1832 Rosemont Avenue. Our next guest is unfortunately a familiar face as well. This is Albert, and he was adopted from us not that long ago, and unfortunately now he's back as a shelter resident again, looking for yet another chance. And he is very deserving of a chance at a forever home. Albert was adopted to a home with a small child. I think it was approximately 4 years old, and he had a toy in his mouth, and the child reached into Albert's mouth and pulled the toy out, and Albert unfortunately bit the little boy, which is something that can happen all the time. We never encourage people to take things directly out of an animal's mouth. We always want people to read the body language and see how they're feeling about things. We behavior assess all of our animals, and it indicates things like they don't like to have their mouth handled or their feet handled, or how they feel about their toys and stuff like that. So if you're interested in adopting Albert or any dog, you really need to pay attention to those things. That is a provoked bite, and it happens, so we are not penalizing Albert for that, and potential adopters shouldn't either. But in order to put him in a situation where we're setting him up for success and he doesn't have to worry about kids trying to pull toys from his mouth again in the future, we are asking that he be adopted to a home where the children are 13 and up and understand those basics of respecting an animal's space, and can learn how to trade with an animal, so this toy instead of this toy, or a treat instead of the toy, all of those types of things. Albert is a 6-year-old tan and white hound mix, and he is just a kind of sweet, low-key, calm guy. He walked in very nicely on his leash, very quietly. He stood around. We tried to get him to sit. Sit's not his favorite position. He kind of defaults into the lay down and relax, rub my belly situation. So if you're looking for a dog that's just going to be a quiet dog, maybe more of a couch potato type dog, then Albert might be more of your speed. He does love those belly rubs. He still could use a few, to shed a few pounds, so some nice walks will be good. But here he goes. This is his favorite thing. He loves those belly rubs. He rides well in the car. but you know, he needs somebody to play with him and to encourage him to share his toys and just work on some training things with him. Because he is a senior at 6 years old, he would be adopted for a $20 reduction in his adoption fee, which would send him home for a fee of $72.50. If you're a pit bull fan, but maybe aren't sure that you can handle, you know, a 60 to 80 pound dog, then we have for you one of our adorable pocket pitties and one of our puppies. This is Satin, and she's about 8 to 10 months old, and she is, it should be illegal to be as cute as Satin is, actually. She's adorable. She came to us as a stray, and she was very, very shy, very, very timid when she came in, and she's slowly coming out of her shell and becoming just an active, typical young dog who wants to play. She does thrive on positive encouragement, and she's very treat motivated. That's about all it takes is some kind words and a milk bone to make her your friend. So she can be, again, shy around new people, new situations. She might have a little bit longer of an adjustment period than maybe some of the other dogs once she's adopted, but it's definitely worth the time to get to know her because she's incredibly sweet. She does know sit, and she's just very kind of quiet in her kennel, but she's everybody's fallen in love with her. You know, we've all learned that she needs that affection and that kind of soft voice, soft temperament to help her. And so that's would be a good thing if you are a little bit more of a patient dog owner, then she might be a great fit for you. She is still a puppy, and she came to us as a stray, so she is still learning all of her basic manners. You know, she does knows to sit for a treat. I don't know that she'll do it on a verbal cue, but if you hold a treat up, she seems to instinctively realize, like, if I sit like this, then they will give me a treat. So you just need to work on adding the cues to it. Because she is so treat motivated, it should be fairly easier to teach her most things. But, you know, just polite leash walking and things like house training, all of that stuff she's going to need some help with because she is still a puppy. Puppies are a huge responsibility, and they require a lot of care. If you don't give them the appropriate care at a young age and you don't train them, teach them their manners, then they can be large, uncontrollable, unruly dogs. So it's better for everyone to take the time now when they're young. And because we understand that, we have an extended application process for our puppies to make sure that we're picking a family that's going to understand those things and provide them to the animals. They are also adopted for a fee of $150. Puppies often require more care while they're here, and they are a bigger responsibility, and we want people to understand that. This last dog today is another one of those amazing dogs that unfortunately don't always show well in their kennel, and so their stays are being extended for that. This is Dominic, and Dominic has been on the show before as well. He's a 1-year-old brindle pit bull mix, and he is just an amazing dog. He's the type of dog that I would want to take home. He's very active. He does have a high energy level. You can take him out hiking. I actually took him hiking on my day off. We went about 6 miles, and he was happy to continue walking. He really enjoyed being out. All the smells, just the chance to have a little bit of fun outside was a big deal for him. But at the same time, he can quickly shut that off, and he can cuddle up with you on the floor, on the couch. So he's kind of the best of both worlds. He is one of the smartest dogs on the adoption floor right now. He picks up things very quickly. He has amazing recall with his name. He came to us as a stray, but after his picture went online, someone who at one point owned Dominic reached out to us and said, I owned this dog, this is some information about him, this is his name, these are the things that he knows. I was unable to keep him, I gave him to a friend, and I guess once he got away from that friend chose not to reclaim him, so he's here looking for another home. But if you say his name, he knows it incredibly well. He will come right to you. He answers both to Dominic as well as to Dom. He knows sit. He's been working on down with our volunteers. He knows paw. We've also been working with him on touch. So he just needs an outlet for all of that type of energy, both physical and mental. He needs something to keep him active and stimulated. He does need some work on house training. He doesn't keep his kennel here clean, but that could just be because it's a kennel and he doesn't care. So taking that into consideration, when we take him outside, he does seem to always go when he's outside. So he does understand to a certain extent that you go outside. So he has a lot of amazing qualities, but again, just like Clifford, doesn't always show well in that kennel environment. So if you're interested in him, make sure you take the time to read his profile and see him outside of his kennel. If you are looking for maybe something a little smaller to add to your home this holiday season, we do have 3 pairs of guinea pigs on the adoption floor right now. So we have 2 male sets and a female set. So I've brought out for you today one of the bonded pairs. So we do have Rocky and Rodney, who are bonded, and they are male. Then we have Sugar and Spice, who are bonded and female. And then we have another pair named Indy and Chin Chin. They did come in together. They are male, I believe, as well, but they are not listed as bonded. So the ones that are bonded have to be adopted together. We will not separate them. Guinea pigs do better in pairs or more because they are social animals. They are prey animals. So having that friend there to kind of watch their back makes them more comfortable. They like to communicate and they just thrive on having that friend around to keep them company. I brought Rocky and Rodney out today because they are super social. A lot of times the guinea pigs are hiding in their little igloos, their little huts. These guys are always out. They, if you're standing in front of their cage, they come right up to you. They like that social interaction with humans, and they're just very outgoing. They're very talkative. They're a great pair, especially if maybe you've never had a pair before, because they are so easily handleable. A lot of times when you're trying to catch the guinea pigs, or at least when I'm trying to catch them, they're running around, they're going in their igloos, they're hard to catch. These guys, easy to pick up, easy to put on a lap. They were liking having their little rear ends scratched. They're walking around, they're talking, they're eating. They're just a great starter set, or even if you're experienced, they are just great guinea pigs in general, and everybody really loves walking in. They're the first guinea pigs that you see. They're right there to greet you in the small animal room, and they're definitely great ambassadors for us. Guinea pigs are adopted for $10 each, or 2 for $15. We do encourage people to do research when you're adding a pet of any kind to your home, but just because they're smaller and they live in a cage doesn't mean that they're the easiest animals to have. They do really need attention. They need exercise time. They have special dietary needs. You need to make sure that their cage is appropriate and the right type, the right size for them, and that you're keeping it clean. So you do want to do your research. We want to thank you for tuning in and meeting some of our dogs and our guinea pigs here today. But if you're more of a cat person, have no fear. We have some great cats that we're going to introduce you to after this short break.
The Frederick County Sheriff's Office now offers fingerprinting services 3 days per week, from Tuesday through Thursday. Our goal is to make it more convenient for citizens to have fingerprints taken for employment, licenses, permits, and other important issues like adoption and child care services. The Sheriff's Office will continue to accept credit and debit cards, checks, and money orders as payment for fingerprint fees. Cash is not accepted. For more information, contact the Fingerprint Information Line at 301-600-4058.
Welcome back. As we've mentioned over the last several episodes, we have a large kitten population, both very young kittens and older kittens. So throughout the entire month of December, all of our kittens will be going home for a fee of just $50 instead of our normal $97.50. So our first guest, while he is a big boy, he is still technically a kitten. He's a very shy guy as well. This is Charles, and he's about 8 to 10 months old. So if you wanted to make him part of your family again, he would go home for that $50 adoption fee this month. He was named by us because he came into us as a stray. And this week, a lot of the kennel techs who spend time with these animals regularly encouraged me to put certain animals on the show, their favorites. And Charles is our kennel tech Alicia's favorite cat right now. And she says that he just melts. And he still needs like a little bit of a confidence boost. You pick him up and he just doesn't fight it. He just kind of melts into your arms. He can't decide whether he's maybe scared or if he likes it. So he needs someone who's very patient. He's not the cat that's going to greet you, but he is very sweet, very loving, and deserves a good home. But again, all of our shy animals, we recommend homes with children 6 or up, just so that they understand that the animals might not want loud noises in their face and fast movements all around them. They're old enough to respect the animals a little bit more and give them the space that they need. He seems to be enjoying the petting. He's hiding a little bit for security, but he's not burying his face entirely. He's not trying to get away and get underneath stuff. So, hopefully once he's in a home environment, he'll settle right in and be, just a loving, cuddly lap cat. But again, it's going to take some time and some patience for his new owners to just let him show his true personality. He's domestic medium hair, which means he will need a little bit of assistance with his grooming, just to make sure that he's not getting mats that can be very painful to them. So just making sure that you have time in your day and your schedule every once in a while to give him a good brushing. If you are interested in being the family that's going to show Charles what it is to be loved and to be safe, so that he can be his best version of himself, you can stop in and visit with him here at Animal Control. Our address is 1832 Rosemont Avenue. Our next guest is Jack, and Jack is your typical kitten. He likes to be cuddled and petted and played with, and he's just a ball of energy, but he's happy to be in your arms or running off on his own. And Jack came in with his litter mates a while ago, and he was actually scheduled for adoption, but unfortunately he got sick, and even more unfortunate, the adopter chose not to wait for Jack to get better, and she just picked a different kitten. So Jack went back to his foster home so that he could recover, and now that he's better, he's back here looking for another chance at a family of his own. He is a blue card, which is really uncommon as far as kittens go, which means they acclimate the easiest. They're the most willing to be held and cuddled. They don't really have a lot of fears. They're very outgoing. I actually didn't even put him in a carrier to bring him from his cage to the set because it was just so much easier, because he's so easy to carry. He's so accepting of that type of interaction. He's now grooming Tammy because apparently he does not think that the dogs smell good. He needs to clean her of her dogginess. But he's just a really sweet kitten. He too will be adopted for that $50 fee. He is used to living with other animals because he did have litter mates. It's been a while. He's been on his own for a little bit, but he should easily go back to that life with a sibling. He is a handsome guy. Again, 5 months old-ish. So he's just a typical kitten. His personality is still, as of yet, not completely defined. So he could change a little bit, things he likes and doesn't like. Just being open to whatever animal you bring home, their individuality, not trying to force them to be a lap cat or a cat that gets carried around or a cat that sleeps on your bed or a dog that goes running or plays fetch. They have things that they like and don't like, and the more you try to force them to do something that they might not be interested in, the more they're kind of gonna avoid you. You know, if you're picking up your kitten or your cat every time they see you and they don't enjoy that interaction, then when they see you, they're gonna start running away because they don't want to have to deal with that. So just being open to letting them be themselves and respecting them for who they are. Again, $50 in the month of December for all of our kittens. That's any cat that's under a year old. So that's 2.5 months all the way up to 11 months. They will be adopted for that fee. As long as you put in your application before the last day of December, you'll still be eligible for that adoption fee. With so many kittens and young cats on the adoption floor, it is hard for our older cats to stand out. And Patty is one of those. She is 10 years old. And not only is she an older cat, but she's a cat that's black, and then she's on the bottom cage, so she just has a hard time standing out. And so we wanted to give her an opportunity to show what a great cat she is. She's actually Peppermint Patty, but we can just shorten that to Patty. And you don't want to think about a senior cat as being like old and just sits around and does nothing all day. I mean, sometimes that's how they are, but I realized recently when I was thinking about it that all of the cats that I have at home are senior cats now, and I never think of them that way. They're always racing around the house, doing all the same stuff that they've always done since they were kittens. Maybe not as frequently, but they're still very active. So don't let an age necessarily discourage you from adopting an animal. And cats can live anywhere from 10 to 20 years depending on overall health and things like that. So she could still have a very long life ahead of her. And even if she doesn't have as long as maybe a kitten, she still is going to be a great companion for however long any owner would have her for. She is color-coded orange, which just means she's one of our average cats. She's individually average. She, is basically a cat who does things when she wants, but again, still has her own personality that lets her shine. Unfortunately, she was brought to us, it says here litter box issues, but when you're reading these profiles, it's really important to read them in their entirety and understand what's being said here. Because it says, why is this pet being surrendered? Litter box. How long have you owned the cat? 10 years. And then when you read further, it says, does your cat use her litter box? Yes. What type of litter do you use? It says Wegmans Crystal brand. A lot of cats don't like those crystals. So if they don't like the litter, they're not going to use the box. And then you read further, and it says, how often do you clean the litter box? Not enough. So clearly that's the problem. That's the number one reason why a cat will not use a litter box, is that they don't think it is clean enough. And then the reason it says list household changes, litter box not cleaned by kids enough. So this is another one of those reasons why we encourage people not to give pets as gifts. If you are interested in meeting with Patty, you can come in. We again are open to the public Monday through Saturday. If you wanted to call in ahead and make sure she was still available, our phone number is 301-600-1546. And as a 10-year-old cat, she will go home for, again, a senior adoption fee. So instead of $97.50, she would go home for $57.50. Our next guest is Buddy, but he's often still referred to by the staff and the volunteers as Butternut, because that's what his name was when he was here previously. He came to us earlier in the year, about 7 months ago, and was adopted out. And then his owner was unable to keep him, so he brought him back to us, which is what we asked, so that we could find him another home. When he was here the first time, he was very, very shy. He's still a little on the shy side, as you can see, but he's doing so much better than he was previously. Before, he was color-coded as a shy cat, and he was even, I believe, for a brief period of time, part of the Frady Cat program, and now he's just an orange cat. He's average, but he does have that shy side to him, which we're seeing here now as he's in a new environment and there's noises and smells and things that he's a little uncomfortable with. So he will need an owner who's going to be patient and understanding, and he's not the cat that's going to be necessarily running up to greet your visitors. He's going to be the one that maybe your friends think doesn't exist because he's always running off and hiding when they come over. But he's going to be very affectionate with you once he gets comfortable with you. He is about 2 to 3 years old, and he is that domestic medium hair. So he, like Charles, who was on the show earlier, will need that assistance with grooming. So, but he does have some mats on him right now. He did get shaved up a little bit. So consistently brushing him out and getting him so that he has that nice coat, because those mats can be very painful, and they can get pretty severe if they're not dealt with. So making sure that you're prepared to do that for him. Otherwise, he just needs, again, patience, love, understanding, and he'll make a great addition to a home. Making sure, again, if you have kids in the house, that they're being respectful of the fact that he might have some fears that he's working through. But otherwise, you know, just an amazing guy who deserves to have a forever home, a true forever home where he's going to feel safe and loved until until his time is up. Our last kitten today is Charity, and she's about 3.5 to 4 months old, and she's had several applications, but they have all fallen off, and so now she's available for adoption again. This just goes to show, if there's an animal that you're really interested in, just keep an eye out, because sometimes those applications and those adoptions fall through. So it could be that you get the animal that you were really looking for. Just, you know, paying attention to our social media, our Pet Tango site, all those types of things. Charity is a beautiful gray tabby. She did come to us as a stray, and she is color-coded green, because this girl is go, go, go all the time. She is always ready to play. She's, you know, the cat that you can hear bouncing stuff off her cage. You know, she's very active. So if you're looking for a kitten that's going to keep your kids occupied and busy, Charity might be a great fit. If you like to hear the sound of kittens running up and down the hall, she's going to be a good one. She did come in alone, so we're not sure what her experiences are with other cats, but kittens do typically acclimate well with other animals. Especially if you were to get 2 kittens. It's often, I hear people tell me all the time that 2 kittens is easier because they have a playmate, they have a buddy to keep them entertained. Kittens are like children, and if they don't have something to keep them occupied and having fun with, then they will find something, and sometimes those are not the things that you want them to be doing, like knocking things off the table or scratching furniture, and so if they have a friend to play with, then maybe they'll be a little less likely to do that. So again, all the kittens adopted during the month of December, putting in those applications during December, would go home for that reduced adoption fee during our Dear Santa promotion. So all kittens under a year old, $50. Normally, our adoption fee is $97.50. That covers all of their spay or neuter, their rabies vaccine, distemper vaccines, county licenses, dewormer, flea and tick preventative, microchipping, a well visit to the vet, just their general board and care. So you really can't beat what you're getting for that price. If you think Charity's that kitten, stop in and visit with her. We want to thank you for tuning in today and meeting so many of our adoptable animals, but they are just a sample. If you didn't see something that caught your eye, please stop in and visit with us. Right now, our normal adoption hours do apply, but as the holidays get closer, we will have some special holiday hours. So check our Facebook, our website, to make sure that we're open in case you're trying to visit. Thanks again for tuning in, and we will see you here on Pet Pals again soon.